Palestinians have voiced fury over Donald Trump's reported plans to declare Jerusalem the capital city of Israel, and they said the Middle East peace process was finished. The decision to move Israel's U.S. embassy to the disputed city, expected to be announced later today, would destroy hopes for a two-state solution, Prime Minister Rami Hamdallah said. Palestinian politician Hanan Ashrawi said there was no way U.S. brokered talks, which for decades have sought unsuccessfully to decide how separate Israeli and Palestinian states might coexist, could continue in the wake of the news. The peace process is finished, she said. They have already preempted the outcome. They cannot take us for granted. Image President Trump and Pope Francis met in May. The criticism was echoed globally on Wednesday, ahead of a speech in which the U.S. president was set to lay out plans to move the embassy from Tel Aviv to the contested city. Pope Francis called on all to respect the city's status quo, in accordance with the relevant UN resolutions, while Prime Minister Theresa May said that Jerusalem should be shared between Israel and a future Palestinian state. Why does Donald Trump want to move the U.S. embassy in Israel? Image a general view of the skyline of the old city of Jerusalem. Mr. Trump is expected to instruct the State Department to begin what is expected to be a years-long process of moving the embassy. Israel welcomed news of the apparent plan to relocate it. Both Israelis and Palestinians claim Jerusalem as their capital, and the city's status is marked as a final issue to be decided in a peace agreement. It is regarded as the center of the Jewish religion, where the biblical King David built a city around the ancient and holy Temple Mount. Many Israelis, and the country's current government, regard the city as an eternal and undivided capital. The state has controlled West Jerusalem since 1948, but after the 1967 war annexed the east of the city and occupied the West Bank, staking a claim beyond internationally defined borders. Image Donald Trump visited Jerusalem in May 2017. East Jerusalem is predominantly Palestinian, home to Islam's third holiest site, the Haram el-Sharif, as well as sacred Christian churches and more than 300,000 Palestinians, who make up nearly 40% of Jerusalem's population. Palestinians want to retain control over part of the city in a final agreement, and accuse Israeli authorities of changing the reality on the ground by building settlements in the east of the city and making life difficult for its Arab population. U.S. officials, speaking on condition of anonymity before the expected announcement, said the decision was an acknowledgement of the historic and current reality in the region rather than a political statement. Image Israeli moves toward the Haram el-Sharif have led to protests. Daniel Seidman, a lawyer and writer based in Jerusalem, told Sky News an embassy move would serve the peace process with a death certificate and offer nothing to replace it. If what we are now seeing is the U.S. wading in and adopting the Israeli position, this is clearly something that disqualifies it from any role of mediator and broker, he said. The Arab world responded to President Trump's reported plan with fierce criticism, and media condemned the move as cities across the region braced for protests. Turkish Foreign Minister Mevlut Cavusoglu said the whole world is against a move, calling it a grave mistake that would bring chaos and instability. British Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson said there were no plans to move Britain's embassy to the city and expressed concern at the reports.